AEW is Swerve's house. TNA is broken. It's all here on the Wrestling is Bullshit report. Welcome back, guys. It's been a very interesting and very awesome week in professional wrestling, and this upcoming week will continue to be fantastic as well. So let's get into it, man. We are but an hour removed from AEW Dynasty. Here I am giving you guys the Wrestling is Bullshit report. Let's get into it, man. Swerve Strickland became the first ever African American AEW World Champion in the main event of AEW Dynasty. Very awesome stuff. A step in the right direction. One of many steps in the right direction that AEW has taken recently. I'm not going to say that all of their steps have been in the right direction, but the main event of Dynasty was definitely a positive thing for AEW, man. We got Swerve Strickland as the world champion. Really just somebody that the fans, I'm not going to say demanded in the way that, WWE fans demanded Cody become world champion or undisputed champion, excuse me, but definitely a fan favorite that rose to the occasion, and AEW had the courage to make Swerve Strickland the AEW World Champion. Fantastic, man. Awesome. Couldn't have gone with a better pick. Right now, for AEW, Swerve is their guy. And AEW is Swerve's house. This episode might be a little, I don't know. You might find me at a loss for words, and it's solely because I'm a little tired. But man, let's get into it. I'm still excited to talk wrestling today on the third ever episode of the Wrestling is Bullshit report. Starting off with AEW Dynasty, of course, we also had Jack Perry helping the Young Bucks defeat FTR in a ladder match for the vacant AEW World Tag Team Titles. I personally don't hate the Young Bucks like many people do. And while I don't agree with the airing of the All In backstage footage, I think the Young Bucks have a road ahead of them to regain the respect of these wrestling fans, casuals and diehards alike. These AEW World Tag Team titles give the Young Bucks an opportunity to earn respect once again from all in the way that they had it. That's not even the case, because the Young Bucks were always those guys being undervalued by the WWE diehards or casual wrestling fans that didn't know too much about them. And here we see it carry over these days. And I'm not going to lie, a lot of it is their fault. But they're humans like you and I. And I think if this third tag team title reign for the Young Bucks is done right, then they can go ahead and slowly earn the respect of fans who may not respect them right now. And what better to wish for the Young Bucks? What better to wish for AEW and that tag team division? Fantastic match, dude. FTR and the Young Bucks in a ladder match. Holy moly, that was awesome, dude. And it came up right after Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson, which was, don't even get me started, one of the best matches I've ever seen. I should have done this episode tomorrow because it's a lot of good wrestling that I'm covering this week, and I'm a little at a loss for words and half tired, like I mentioned earlier, and I just want to call it the way it is. I want to make my best calls right here on this episode. So let's try, man. Let's do it. Fuck trying. Do that shit. Yeah, man. We got Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson in what was one of the best wrestling matches I have ever seen. Unfortunately, Danielson seemed to be very hurt towards the end, taking Will Ospreay's finishing move. Well, a variation of Will Ospreay's finishing move really looks like it hurt Bryan Danielson's neck or his shoulder, or both. We don't have official word yet as of this recording, but we will find out the future of Bryan Danielson and his health physically after that physically demanding match against Will Ospreay. One of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen, man. This This just reminds me why I like wrestling, man. This is up there with Omega and Okada from New Japan. This is up there with, I don't know, man. Just a fantastic match. Just seriously, like bell to bell masterclass. I highly recommend whoever you are, go check out Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay at AEW Dynasty. Truly lived up to the hype. I understand that a lot of matches in the modern day climate don't always live up to the hype, but this match truly did live up to the hype. And I don't know, man. I'm a little rattled. I might have some recency bias, but I would put this right up there with New Japan's finest matches. Truly, truly, this is going to be 5 stars for sure. It might even break the scale again for those Dave Meltzer fans out there. What else, man? We got Willow Nightingale defeating Julia Hart for the TBS Championship, only to set up Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale at AEW Double or Nothing in May, in about a month. So I'm very excited to see that, man. Very excited for Mercedes Moné to hopefully win that TBS Championship from Willow Nightingale and play a big role in AEW Dynamite's defending that TBS Championship right there on TBS. Very exciting, awesome stuff, man. We also, this is not very exciting to me at all, in my opinion, but whatever. It is what it is, man. Hopefully they salvage a good story, and this is only one chapter in the story that they are trying to tell with Chris Jericho and Hook, as Hook lost the FTW Championship to Chris Jericho. Yes, I said that right. I can't even believe it came out of my mouth. Hook lost the FTW Championship to Chris Jericho. What are we doing, guys? Come on. Come on. No. As fans, we're chanting, please retire. And all these, made me feel bad for Jericho. All these negative chants for Chris Jericho during his match against Hook. Chris Jericho ends up defeating Hook to win the FTW Championship. Really, not the end of the world, essentially. Like, I'll get over it, but I definitely won't say that was the right call. I'm sure they're going to have Hook win it back from him eventually, but still, man, there's no need for that. Chris Jericho is really on his last legs here. I hate to say it, man. I got a lot of respect for Jericho as a pro wrestler. But yeah, man, Chris Jericho is your new FTW champion. I think a lot of people are pretty upset about that. Me, it's not the end of the world, but it's not something I would have booked myself personally. So whatever. I'm just going to have to live with it, and we're just going to have to live with it. I'm sure Hook will win that title back shortly. We're just in the middle of that story here. And on the pre-show of AEW Dynasty, we also had Bullet Club Gold defeat the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn to unify these World Trios titles from AEW and Ring of Honor. So Bullet Club Gold is now the unified World Trios champions of AEW. Interesting. I don't know. I think there was a lot of good things that happened on this AEW pay-per-view. However, I think AEW still has a lot of work to do, and that's okay because they've been around for 5 years? They're still in their early days as a promotion. No promotion will ever have their stuff together in 5 years doing what they do. So I just hope AEW is able to learn from the mistakes they made in the past, learn from the mistakes they made in the present, and then learn from the mistakes they are going to make in the future. But nonetheless, man, they still provided one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen. They gave us Swerve Strickland as world champion, which is freaking fantastic. The Young Bucks are doing their thing in their third reign with the titles. I can't complain. I'm a Cali guy. I like the Young Bucks. I don't love the Young Bucks, but I like the Young Bucks. I'm not going to lie. So there's a lot of good things happening over at AEW. AEW really doesn't miss ever at all when they put on a pay-per-view. So it's great that we're getting into the upswing of the year as we have Double or Nothing coming up in about 4 or 5 weeks. Shortly after that, we will have Forbidden Door, and then we'll be on the road to All In, Wembley Stadium. So very fantastic stuff, very exciting stuff, and I hope AEW continues to be on the up and up and stops shooting themselves in the foot, essentially. I think they'll be okay. I really do. Let's get into TNA, man, because on Saturday night, 420, we had TNA Rebellion, man. We only had one title change hands, and that was Laredo Kid on the 0 hour defeating Crazy Steve for the TNA the Digital Media Championship, excuse me. The Digital Media Championship, sort of an undercard title for TNA these days. Laredo Kid winning that in the 0 hour. However, the main card did see Josh Alexander defeat Hammerstone in a last man standing match. And then we also had a Full Metal Mayhem match as well on this card. Very exciting stuff, man. Good work, TNA. Having that blockbuster main event between Moose and Nick Nemeth. I'm a big fan of Moose, and I love Nick Nemeth. I really didn't know which way to go when watching this match. It would have been awesome to see Nick Nemeth win that TNA World title, but I think Moose has been doing a fantastic job, and I think it's great that he still has that title, to be honest with me. To be honest with me, to be honest with you, good Lord. We then had Broken Matt Hardy return to TNA and confront Moose. Not only did he confront Moose before the show went off air, but we also saw Broken Matt Hardy pick up the TNA World Championship. So it looks like he's either next in line or he will be built up to a TNA World title match sometime soon. Very interesting, man. I think Broken Matt Hardy, that gimmick specifically of Matt Hardy, worked best in TNA, was born in TNA. AEW tried to do it. WWE tried to do it. It was best in TNA. And a lot has happened since Broken Matt Hardy was on TNA. So I would forgive you for forgetting how good Broken Matt Hardy was as a gimmick in TNA. I'm going on a loop, aren't I? I would forgive you for forgetting about all that. But Broken Matt Hardy is essentially home. And I think TNA is going to do right by him. Whether he wins the world championship or not, I think he totally could win that world championship. But even if he doesn't, I'm excited to see the creative freedom that will allow Broken Matt Hardy to tell great stories, maybe alongside Brother Nero. We will see. Very exciting stuff to see Broken Matt Hardy back in TNA. Yes! Had to do it for the culture, man. Had to do it for the culture. We also had some cool WWE and NXT stuff happening on the results in this past week. We had Chad Gable turning heel on Sami Zayn after he was unable to win the Intercontinental Championship in the main event of Raw. Very interesting stuff. I did say in the past that either Chad Gable would be turning heel or Sami Zayn would be turning heel. So it's cool to see Chad Gable get this character arc here, a character arc that totally makes sense. WWE has been to the nines with everything they do lately, and this heel turn is no exception with Chad Gable. Very exciting stuff. A lot of people are expecting to see some next level Kurt Angle, next generation Kurt Angle stuff out of Chad Gable. Hey, man, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it compares. I'm excited to see what the next chapter in the story is between Chad Gable and Sami Zayn for sure. And it's really interesting to see that they went the Chad Gable route for who was going to turn heel out of the two of them, because you could have easily done Sami Zayn. He's a fantastic heel. But no, you don't take the safe route. You take the risky route and allow Chad Gable to turn heel. And I couldn't be more excited, man. I couldn't be more excited. We also, unfortunately, had Rhea Ripley. That's a bummer. I haven't thought about that in the past few days. I'm coming off the high of Swerve Strickland winning the AEW World Championship. And there I just remind myself that Rhea Ripley was forced to vacate the Women's World Championship. Let's be positive here. Nobody was taking the title off of her anytime soon. That she can go get surgery and heal. It's unfortunate that happened to her, but this does give the women of the Raw roster a chance to step up and carry that division with their champion's absence. And guess what? Rhea will come back in 6 to 8 months and win that belt back. We wish Rhea Ripley a speedy recovery, but I can't say I'm not excited for the future of the Women's World Championship. I think Liv Morgan can do something with it. And this is going to be sink or swim for Liv Morgan. I think she did fine as the SmackDown Women's Champion in 2021, 2022. It was 2022. Sorry about that. I think she did fine as SmackDown Women's Champion, but Will she be able to fill the shoes that Rhea Ripley left as the women's world champion? Will she be able to succeed in the Paul Levesque era as women's world champion? I do think she'll be getting that title. If she doesn't get that title tomorrow on Raw, which we will get to, then she will be getting that title eventually. And then when Rhea Ripley is ready to come back, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley will be having a high caliber feud that will get all the fans excited. You can bet on that. You can bet on that. Nonetheless, man, we had a very eventful Monday Night Raw this past Monday. And then we go to Tuesday. We had Trick Williams defeating Carmelo Hayes in a steel cage match on NXT. Very exciting stuff, man. NXT has been doing some pretty awesome stuff, especially with Trick and Melo, man. That's the best story they've told in years, man. Years. A real long time since they told a story like that. So it was real cool to see NXT put on a steel cage match between the two shortly after they just had their first one-on-one encounter at NXT Stand and Deliver. We didn't have to wait too long to see match number 2, and it looks like Trick Williams is up 2-0 on Carmelo Hayes. And I'm sure that will carry over for when Trick is ready for the main roster, as Melo is, as we speak, ready for the main roster. So when these guys cross paths again, we'll see if Melo can get his wins back. I'm sure he will. Last but not least for the results, man, we had the WWE Tag Team Titles presented to A-Town Down Under. Fantastic looking titles, man. On this past episode of SmackDown, we saw some fantastic looking titles. People think the Raw Tag Team Titles, aka the World Tag Team Titles, don't look as good, but nonetheless, man, I still think they look fantastic. I think the fact that they're a little too round in the main play is throwing a lot of people off, but I definitely think that these titles look beautiful and the fans will grow to love them over time, as will I. So we got some new tag team titles in WWE. Not no red ones, not no blue ones. We have some respectable looking titles. What a time. What a time to be a fan, guys. That's it for the results. Let's get into the news, and then we will get into the watch list. And you're going to want to stick around for the watch list this week because there's a lot of stuff, man. There's a lot of stuff. This is going to be another busy week. Not even an hour removed from AEW Dynasty, we're going to go ahead and look at this watch list for the upcoming week. And there's a lot of wrestling to be watched, let me tell you, man. Let's get into the news. This is not something that I really want to talk about. We got kind of a doozy on this week's news. We got Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, to take punitive action against AEW for featuring Nyla Rose, who is a transgender women's wrestler. And the city of Oklahoma did not take lightly to AEW featuring Nyla Rose, which is not okay in my opinion. You'll never catch me being a transphobic person. If you are a transphobic person, I got something for you. Yep. Don't hate people, man. Don't spread hate, spread love. And the city of Oklahoma is not doing that. So it's very pathetic. I hate to inform you guys that this is happening with AEW. It shouldn't be happening with. This is not sports. So the state of Oklahoma approached this like it was a fight between a man and a woman, a wrestling competition between a man and a woman. But I hate to break it to you. If you don't know, now you know. Pro wrestling is staged. Pro wrestling is scripted. So this is not really a competition. It's a performance. Don't get me wrong. The culture of pro wrestling can be very competitive. But at the end of the day, it is a performance. It is choreography. It is entertainment for us fans. So for Oklahoma to come and do some petty shit like this is wrong. Sorry if you disagree with me, but honestly, I'm not taking a crazy stance here. This is just common sense. This is just human rights, man. Let Nyla Rose do her job and fuck the state of Oklahoma for doing this shit. All right. Let's move on, man. Don't want to talk about that, man. This is not what pro wrestling is for. Pro wrestling is supposed to be aside from this bullshit that we live with. All right, man. Motor City Machine Guns are AEW bound. Looks like AEW is getting a new tag team and it looks like this AEW Tag Team division is definitely gonna be hopping with the Young Bucks as champs. We got these up and coming tag teams such as Private Party, such as Top Flight, and then we got the Motor City Machine Guns, absolute tag team legends coming and joining the AEW tag team roster. Very exciting, man. This is all but confirmed. A lot of sources are reporting on this. I think it's safe to say that the Motor City Machine Guns are going to be all elite. This might even be their last run, and I have no doubt that the AEW creative team will do right by the Motor City Machine Guns when they come to All Elite Wrestling. Going to be very exciting, man. Expect to see them with the AEW World Tag Team Titles if it is to be their last run for sure. That's all I got in news, man. I'm sorry I had to report some negative stuff, man. It's a real doozy. Really, it's not what I like to talk about here, but I definitely think it was important. I didn't know how it was going to come out, but I definitely, just let it fly. And I hope you agree with me. There's no need to be transphobic. There's no need to be xenophobic in any way, shape, or form. That stuff is killing the culture. That stuff is killing the country. So it's okay if you don't understand something, but let's not reach for hate. How about that? Let's not reach for hate. Okay, let's get into the watch list, guys. We got a very fantastic week of professional wrestling coming up. It's a little hard for me personally. I'll just be straight up with you guys. It's a little hard for me to be my, lighthearted, fun self because I had to talk about some serious shit. And I think we had to talk about some serious shit last week with CM Punk and Jack Perry, but even that doesn't compare to what I had to briefly discuss with the city of Oklahoma and AEW. Yeah. Let's hope that stuff gets dropped. Let's talk about wrestling, man. Let's talk about the watch list. We got Monday Night Raw. We got the Women's World Championship Battle Royal. Again, Liv Morgan is a favorite to win that match. And even if she doesn't win that match, I do think that Liv Morgan will be Women's World Champion sometime in 2024. But you ask me on my pick is Liv Morgan. But they could go plenty of different ways with it, man. They could go plenty of different ways. We got the WWE draft right around the corner, so we don't even know what this Raw women's roster is going to look like or what the SmackDown women's roster is going to look like. So, yeah, man. Monday Night Raw is a must-watch this week, just for that reason, right? You're going to be crowning a new women's world champion, and then Awesome Truth will be defending the world tag team titles against DIY. Very fun stuff. Very awesome stuff. Very cool stuff. Let's get it, man. Tuesday, we have NXT. NXT Spring Breakin'. Am I tripping or was spring break like a couple weeks ago? I'm not in school anymore, but it was spring break a few weeks ago. I think it was. It's always funny to me how spring break-in is always a couple weeks like after spring break, and then SummerSlam it should be in July. July is like the middle of the summer. August is kind of the end of summer. That stuff always like cracks me up my whole life, like how they're always a little bit late on that stuff, those themed shows. It's all good though. It's no big deal. This is going to be a fantastic show from NXT on Tuesday. We got Roxanne Perez defending the NXT Women's title against Lyra, Valkyria, and Tatum Paxley. Excuse me, guys. I'm really not on my stuff today, like I would want to be, but we're getting through it. We also got Ilja Dragunov defending the NXT Championship against Tatum Paxley. No, Ilja Dragunov is not defending the NXT Championship against Tatum Paxley. I just wrote a typo in my notes because I'm a dumb shit. Ilja Dragunov is defending the NXT Championship against Trick Williams. I hope there's somebody out there that enjoys this episode where I'm just fumbling my words every 30 seconds and I'm saying silly stuff like Ilja Dragunov defending the NXT Championship against Tatum Paxley. No, it's Trick Williams. Trick Williams is coming off this steel cage match from Carmelo Hayes and going right into a NXT Championship match against Ilja Dragunov. And let me tell you, man, it is said to be a lock for Ilja Dragunov to be in the main roster after the WWE draft. So I do think that Trick Williams will be taking this NXT Championship from Ilja. And yeah, man, I think it's all but a lock that Trick Williams wins this NXT Championship on Tuesday. So tune in for that. AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. Jon Moxley defends the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Powerhouse Hobbs. His first IWGP World Heavyweight Championship defense will be on AEW Dynamite. And I think him and Hobbs will put together a great match. The only thing I hope for with this match is that it feels more like a New Japan match and not an AEW match. And that might be silly to hear from me because AEW does resemble New Japan, the American version of New Japan in a lot of ways, in my opinion, or used to, or should, in my opinion. So I just really hope this feels like a New Japan match. Let them go 35, 40 minutes. Let them beat the shit out of each other for that IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, the number one prize in Japanese wrestling. Very exciting. I'll definitely be tuning in to AEW Dynamite to see what this IWGP World Heavyweight Championship looks like on AEW TV. Very exciting. Very interesting. Yeah. Friday, we got the start of the draft, man. We got Friday Night SmackDown, and it will be the first half of the WWE draft where we will be finding out more about what to expect from WWE programming in 2024 and early 2025. Very interesting stuff, man. I'm always excited to see the draft. The draft is a time to shake things up. The draft is a time to create new feuds, to create new opportunities, and to create new possibilities in WWE programming. So it's a very exciting week, and we start that off on Friday. And then we have Saturday morning, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Road to Wrestling Dantaku. We have the Mighty Don't Kneel defending the strong openweight tag team titles against the Guerrillas of Destiny. And then we have Great Okan defending the King of Pro Wrestling title against Yuya Uemura. It's kind of a passable show for me, to be honest, but you got two title matches there on early Saturday morning for us Americans. So if you feel like checking out some New Japan, you'll see the Mighty Don't Kneel in the tag team title match defending those strong open weight titles, and you will see the Great Okan defending the KOPW title, King of Pro Wrestling title, the title that nobody gives a shit about, if I'm being honest. Sorry. Last but not least, man, super exciting stuff. As a Hispanic myself, I'm proud to announce that Saturday we'll see AAA Triple Mania 32 in Monterrey. We will see the main event of Alberto El Patron, formerly known as Alberto Del Rio, facing Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. I'm going to keep saying it. For the vacant AAA Mega Championship. So El Hijo del Vikingo, who has been the AAA Mega Champion for quite a few years now, is been forced to relinquish that AAA Mega Championship due to an injury that would see him sidelined for 9+ months, I believe. This was a few months ago. But nonetheless, man, the AAA Mega Championship has become vacated, and the money match between Alberto El Patron and Nick Nemeth should crown a new and worthy champion. Now, if you ask me, I say bet the house on Alberto El Patron, but I do think in the second week in a row, Nick Nemeth has a second chance to be double champion, as he is currently the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And here he is in the main event of Triple Mania 32 this upcoming Saturday facing Alberto El Patron. He has the opportunity to grab the AAA Mega Championship and have two huge titles in the world of professional wrestling. Like I said, man, I really do think that Alberto El Patron will be winning this championship, but nonetheless, you can't help but wonder, will this be Nick Nemeth's time to become double champion? It didn't happen this past Saturday on TNA Rebellion, but will it happen at Triple Mania 32? Very interesting, man. Just like to stir the pot here. Let's get fans excited about this show. Triple Mania. Give it a shot. I'm not going to lie. It's a little interesting. Triple Mania, it's a AAA. It's not my favorite. I would much rather follow CMLL and report on CMLL stuff for you guys. That is me being completely vulnerable and completely honest with you guys. But nonetheless, man, AAA going ahead and putting together a money main event for that vacant Mega Championship like this. And I'm going to probably tune in. I'm going to try to tune into this, man. And we will see how the rest of the card plays out. I'm there for the main event. You know that. We're there for the main event. You're probably with me in that. We are there for the main event. Alberto El Patron versus Nick Nemeth. But we will see what this Triple Mania card has to offer this Saturday and see if anything else is intriguing out of AAA. That's all I got for you guys, man. It's been a real interesting episode. Thank you guys for tuning in for the third episode of the Wrestling is Bullshit Report. We've got some new world champions all over the place. It's a great time to be a fan, even if I'm stumbling my words, even if I'm a little tired. I would take this over anything any day because it is just such a great time to be a fan. And I definitely think the best is in store. The best is not behind us, the best is ahead. Let's get it, guys. Let's enjoy wrestling. Thank you for watching the Wrestling is Bullshit Report. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.